What is going on, guys? We're going to be talking about the three biggest pitfalls that moms run into on their health journeys. And there's even a bonus fourth one that I think is also very relevant as well, too. So we're just going to dive right into it. I'm going to pull up my phone here just so I can see any questions, anything that you guys want to talk about as we're initially getting into this. So let me just pull this up real quick. Alrighty. Got Caitlin, Caroline, Rebecca. What is going on, guys? All right, so let me just pull up my notes that I got here. Okay. So we're gonna be talking about the three biggest pitfalls moms run into when they want to crush their fitness goals. I'm Alex. I've helped over 400 high achieving moms tone and prioritize themselves, and be able to rewire that internal operating system to create a body and life that they deserve for those of you that are brand new to the group. So that way, you know that I'm not some just 26-year-old man with a cat that's telling you how to live your life. So we're gonna be tackling some critical stuff here today, the three biggest pitfalls on your fitness journey, crafting a sustainable approach to overcome them. I want this to be an interactive post. So if like drop your thoughts, questions, experiences in the comments as we go along. Let's make this a solid conversation where there's a lot of value. So pitfall number one. Oh, Geraldine, what's going on? Ashley, nice to see you guys. So pitfall number one is lack of time. So first, let's dive into the challenge of finding time, where we've all said it, there's just not enough time. So I wish there was more time in the day. But here's a new perspective. It's not about finding the time, it's about making the time. It's about creating the time. It's not that you don't have the time, it's that you're not prioritizing it. It's where your priorities lie. So you need to also look at it from like there's actually it's going to apply to one of the other pitfalls within this pitfall. So that's not going into it 100% feeling like everything's going to be perfect, everything's going to work out super well. So focusing on doing like mini workouts, doing 10 or 20-minute workouts, focusing on habit development. Like when you're focusing on lack of time, there's this analogy. We live in the Yukon. For those of you that don't live in the Yukon, during skiing season, when you're learning how to ski, they specifically say don't focus on the tree, you're going to hit the tree. Like focus on the path, focus on where you need to go. And if you're focusing on having like just scrambling, being all over the place, and like thinking about like all these potential future circumstances that might not even happen, that's not going to serve you. Focusing on these roadblocks where focus goes, energy flows. When you're focusing on these barriers, you're putting more energy into these barriers and you're eliminating any kind of opportunity that you can see around it to be resourceful and show up regardless. Because when you focus on how can I do this? How can I even just do a little bit rather than nothing? Like focusing on doing mini workouts, doing 10-minute workouts, doing it first thing in the morning, like before the kids wake up, when you got your own time first thing in the morning. Like and for those of you that are like, oh, I'm not a morning person, you're creating a narrative for yourself. You're telling yourself that you're not a morning person, so you're staying up too late, you're binging stuff, like you're like binging like Netflix until you finally get to an episode where you're satisfied, where you're like, oh, I can go to bed. It's 1 in the morning. And like then you wake up groggy and you're like, oh, I hate getting up early because you've basically proven to yourself that mornings suck. But if you go to bed early, you get enough time first thing in the morning. How you set the tone makes a massive difference. Have you ever gone on a vacation where when you get to the vacation, the first part of the vacation sucks, so then the rest of the vacation almost sucks afterwards? It's because it was set, like the tone was set for that vacation. It's like setting the tone for the day. If you start off with a super frantic, stressful start to your day, frantically trying to get yourself out of bed so you can get your shit on and get to work on time, and you're like, you might even be late. You're like pressing snooze all the time. How's that going to start a good, like, that's not going to be a good start to your day. Or if you're starting your day off with like immediately like overextending yourself, not setting any boundaries, you're showing up for everybody else. Like you're showing up for your kids, you're showing up for your partner, but you're not showing up for yourself. You're basically like telling yourself that you're not a priority and that it's okay to put yourself on the back burner. So I would recommend like doing something for yourself first thing in the morning. Like if you're struggling with getting your workouts down consistently, you don't have the time to do your workouts, focus on doing on like 10 or 20-minute workouts first thing in the morning. And the way that I like to look at it as 20 minutes is 1% of your day. You're going to start your day off with a win. It's going to set the tone for the day. So you're going to pay more attention to your health throughout the day. And if you only focus on 10 or 20 minutes, it's going to be a lot more actionable. It's going to be less daunting. It's going to be, you're going to be like, of course I can do it. It's 10 minutes. Of course I can do it. It's 20 minutes. And it also just gets it out of the way. So that way it mitigates any potential thing from happening later that day. Where like if you have like if especially if you're a people pleaser and you're just overextending yourself, you're saying yes to everything, like the likelihood of you just saying yes when you know that you should be doing a workout and you know that you should be taking care of yourself and you just say yes anyways and don't set any kind of boundaries, like especially if that's habitual and it's something that you've been doing for a long time, it's likely gonna happen. So if you're able to do it first thing in the morning, you need to take like it's just going to be able to mitigate any potential thing from getting in the way later in the day, which then creates more consistency. You need to not only take your time into account, but your energy and your bandwidth as well too. Like you have, especially if you have kids, which you're in this group is full of moms. If you have kids, like the likelihood of something coming up or you having to help somebody or dropping everything and taking on a bunch of responsibilities is fairly high. Like something's going to get in the way where like your evening plans aren't going to go the way that you planned for them to go, which then creates a lot of inconsistency. So focusing on like just like when you're placing your time, like not just like creating the time, but like also strategically doing it when you know that you're going to be able to have the bandwidth and the energy to do it. It's like when you're meal prepping. You technically have the time to meal prep on a Monday night after a long day, but like, are you really going to want to do that when you're just starting your week off and you just had to catch up on a bunch of shit that you had to do that you put off during the weekend? Or like a lot of people's Mondays are just crazy. So it's one of those things that you definitely need to take into consideration when you're planning time to do things. Doing a workout in the morning instead of in the evening because you're going to be more consistent with it. Prepping your nutrition on a Sunday when you know that you're going to be able to go and like prep and plan and get it all ready for the week so then you can make future use life a little bit easier. And then that's one thing off your plate that you don't have to focus on. And you can just be able to be in the present moment, focus on your energy and your focus in the areas that are more important instead of having to be like, how am I going to figure out how to get my nutrition in today? Like you have nothing prepped, you have nothing planned. So then you turn to convenience where you start to turn to like junk food and go into the cupboard and stuff like that. I got a little bit off topic with that, but it's all relevant. Definitely things that you should pay attention to. And also come back and like rewatch this video if these are the first time that you're hearing it so you can implement it. As we're going throughout this call, make sure that you're taking actionable notes. Like knowledge isn't power, applied knowledge is power. And when you overcomplicate it, it's like when you took a bunch of notes in science class in high school. Like you didn't want to look at that page. Like you going through that entire note section of all the notes that you took. Like I know that I didn't like I would just like throw them into a drawer and never look at them again. Like I would take 10 things that are takeaways, that are action steps, and take the top 3 and then take the other 7 and put them in a drawer somewhere and just focus on those 3. As a mom, you only have so much time, energy, and bandwidth available. Focus on fewer areas and executing them. Also time blocking. Like I would definitely like a lot of moms that we work with, they rely on their ability to remember to do things. And when you're starting new habits, you're starting new routines, you need to be able to have some kind of visual cue to remind yourself to do it when you get stressed out. You have like a really crazy day where you're like you have like a bunch of random personal life stuff happens. Maybe you get a bunch of extra work that gets thrown onto your plate. Being able to have something that just anchors you to remind yourself to do it in the midst of having all this stuff going on is so important to establish that initial routine. So blocking out time when you know that you're going to have the time, not just for your health and fitness, but for other things, when you have to do dishes, when you have to do laundry, when you have to take your kids to school, like making sure you're winding down to get to bed on time. Like a lot of us, we tell ourselves that we don't have enough time, but it's because we're relying on a feeling. We're like feeling like you, everybody has the right to feel the way that they need to feel, but you can't base like your decisions and reality off of your feeling. Because especially if you get stressed out and like you get in your own head, we just like exaggerate things to ourselves. Like you need to be very accurate with it. With when you start to schedule your time, you're going to create more time by like scheduling it. And in the words of Jordan Peterson, if you don't have a schedule, get a damn schedule. Like get a Google Calendar. If you already have a Google Calendar, like you're one of those people that has like multiple schedules, put them all into one schedule. Or if you have like a work schedule that you pay more attention to, and you have like a personal schedule that you barely even look at, put the personal stuff into the work schedule if you can, because you're all like psychologically you're already associating all those work things and like the important things as a priority and things that are important. If If you can put your nutrition, your workouts as a non-negotiable and put them in there, you're going to associate them as a priority as well too. But I would start to block out your time, start to follow through with the things on your schedule. There's going to be some of you that are like, hey, Alex, I've tried a schedule and I wasn't able to follow through with it. The thing is, you put way too much stuff on that schedule where you constantly just put it off because it was just like almost like super daunting and overwhelming to try and do everything that you put onto the schedule. You need to also make it actionable when you do it as well too. Like focusing on like small workouts, small promises that you're making to yourself and following through with it so you can build trust and confidence within yourself that you can actually do it. Then you can start to take it up a notch where you're doing 30-minute workouts. Instead of prepping for a couple of days or for a day, you're prepping for 3, 4, 5 days and just taking it up a notch. Like if you're 1% better, you're going to be 37 times better by the end of the year. So like it's just focusing on progression and like just taking it one step at a time. Don't compare yourself to other people. It's you versus you. And Natasha, Monica, Caitlin, awesome, awesome. But wasn't not time is an issue for sure, but wasn't not having the time, was finding the right time. Absolutely. Totally. When you do the workouts, when you do the meal prepping, like that makes such a huge difference. So it's not a lack of time, it's also when you're doing it. Cause like a lot of times, like you're just like a zombie and melting into your couch when you get home from work and you just want to finally just relax. Like your momentum has ended. Like basically you have an entire active day of just crushing it, doing a bunch of work, doing all these errands and stuff. And then you just like sit down on the couch and stress relief. And you just the TV turns on, you get a glass of red wine, maybe get some snacks out of the cupboard, and like doing anything outside of that is like next to impossible. So like if you have to do it after work, do it immediately after work. Like go like straight to the gym, go straight to your workout thing, go right to the grocery store after work if that's when you have to do it. So that way you're still doing it when you have momentum as well too. But definitely recommend doing as much as you possibly can ahead of time or first thing in the morning. And then incorporating, like if you are struggling with time, incorporate your kids into your workouts. Like if you have like a small child that you can hold, use them as a weight. You can do resistance training. You can do squats. You can like get them to do some exercises with you. You'd be surprised how many clients that we have where their kids start like hopping in and like also cheering them on and like getting them like ready to go. And like it's just like you're leading them by example. So it's like looking at it from like a future standpoint, how you're going to be able to help them with their routines and them prioritizing their health when they get older. But it's also just being able to take them for a walk to the park, like just getting some like small steps and like just getting as active as you possibly can, and then starting to slowly work your way up. I'd also like to just hear some like challenges that you guys face for finding time with your workouts. Like I'd love to brainstorm some solutions together with more specific instances. I was talking about like general ones and stuff that I've worked with my clients on, but if you guys had any, I would love to just see any in the comment section. And if not, I can always come back if you're watching this as a recording and then come answer as well. More than happy to help. But yeah, I'll give it a second. If you guys got anything to talk about, then we'll move on to the next section. Angelica, Natasha, Katie, Jesse, Ashley, Geraldine. If any of you guys got any questions, just let me know. Or like a specific some challenges are when kids are off school and the schedule is all over the place. Totally. So I would kind of do the same thing where like Rebecca, I know you. So like you're doing your workouts consistently for the nutrition, like that's where prepping and like planning and like cutting up veggies and like making sure like you have your nutrition like you don't have to do like all the meals and like put them all together or anything, but just having the individual ingredients and containers so they're just ready to go, setting up reminders to do it, having a schedule where like you're don't focus on bringing the same level of performance. Like instead of feeling like you need to like hit your calories and like hit your macronutrients and your and all of your nutrition targets, focus on just getting your protein in by the end of the day, or focus on just getting your calories in by the end of the day, because protein is super satiating. I know that you struggle with getting your food in, so that's like it really depends on the instance, but I know for workouts that's not really an issue. It's more for the nutrition piece, and like also setting boundaries as well too, like with the kids as well too. Like when you set those boundaries with them, they're gonna respect it. Like you're able to like I actually have like a little thing about boundaries. So boundaries will actually reduce stress and help your mental well-being. Establishing boundaries is good for you and the people around you. When you're clear about your boundaries, people will understand your limits and what you are and aren't okay with, and they'll adjust their behavior accordingly when you communicate that with them. So like that, it might not even be a matter of like the time that you have available. It's like setting clear boundaries for when they're more in your space, and like your routine is completely different when they're off of school. Sharon, Christine, what's going on, guys? Okay, we're gonna be hopping into pitfall number two. So setting unrealistic goals. Like setting unrealistic goals is probably a huge one for a lot of people. So let's talk about setting goals that actually work for you, not against you. The aim is progress, not overnight success. So creating SMART goals, I actually have a Google Doc. Where is it? There we go. I'm just gonna share my screen here. So you guys should be able to see this. We're going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. So the X indicates what a not a like what the wrong thing should be. What like a lot of you may or may not be currently having as your goal, or maybe you did in the past. But setting SMART goals. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time bound. So I'm going to start eating healthier. I want to be healthy. Not really the greatest goal in the world. It's not going to be able to give you a whole lot of direction on where you need to be going. So the more specific and detailed about the goal that you're trying to accomplish, the more you're going to be able to create a roadmap and clarity on how you need to get there. I'm going to eat more vegetables and less fast food. Like that would be a lot more specific. Or it's like, I'm going to make sure I'm weighing my food and tracking my food. And like, or just tracking your food so you can create more awareness around it. Like that would be something that would be very specific. Measurable. I want to get rid of my stomach. I want to fit into my old pair of jeans that's this size, or lose five inches off of my waist. Like that gives you something you can objectively measure when you're making the progress that you're making towards your goal. Like that just gives you something that's like we're very results driven creatures. So being able to have something that's measurable is also very important. And having something that's attainable. Because a lot of you are like, maybe like, oh, I'm going to lose 20 pounds this month, or I'm going to lose 15 pounds this month. I'm going to lose 40 pounds this month. That's so unrealistic. You can healthily lose about 1 to 2 pounds per week where you're not going to binge and like gain all the weight back or fall off track, where you're able to follow it sustainably and consistently. So like it needs to be realistic both by the laws of like physics and what you're able to accomplish. So I'm going to lose 40 pounds in the next year. Like I've had a client lose 54 pounds in a year. Like that could also be realistic. But like it's looking at it from like that kind of standpoint where it's like, okay, how many pounds can I lose in a year? Like what's the max? What's kind of like the minimum that I can achieve? There's 52 weeks in a year. So like technically you could lose upwards of like 100 or so pounds, but like that's like if you're gaining muscle, like that's just a very unrealistic goal to set for yourself. Like something closer to like 40 to 60 pounds in a year, that'd be much more realistic. And then relevant. Like I want to get stronger while losing weight. Like you're probably not going to get super strong. Like you'll be able to get a little bit stronger. Like if you've never really done resistance training before, like you'll probably gain a little bit of strength at first. But when you're in a caloric deficit, you're in a deficit of energy. You're in a deficit of calories. So you're going to have less energy. So like always progressively increasing your strength is not going to be realistic. You want to maintain your strength or like maybe get a little bit stronger while losing weight. Like that would definitely be realistic. And time bound. I'm going to lose weight this year. I'm going to lose 20 pounds by my birthday. Like, obviously, your birthday shouldn't be next month. But, like, making sure that, like, I would say most of our clients lose about 15 to 20 pounds in their first 4 months, or 15 to 25 pounds, depending on the person. Like, we've had some crazy weight loss with like 40 pounds once before, but that was not in the healthiest of ways. So I just want people to get clear on like whatever your goal is, get very specific on what it is, make sure it's measurable, make sure it's attainable, make sure it's realistic, make sure you have you're setting yourself a due date where you're like, maybe even like find an event, maybe you're going to a wedding, maybe you're going on a vacation. Like when you're able to like almost anchor it to something that's really important to you where you want to look really good or something like that could be like a huge motivator. And then like also setting like realistic goals so you're not setting yourself up for failure and you're able to do it in a realistic way where you can give yourself grace, you can give yourself patience and know that like how long it's realistically going to take. That's going to create more sustainability. Because like getting in your own head, getting overwhelmed, like wanting to shut down and feeling like you're not making enough progress. Like I'm sure a lot of you guys like feel like you're not enough. Like I know that I personally felt that way a lot, like a lot. Like especially like I'm not a mom, I'm a cat dad. I got other childhood traumas that make me feel that way, but that's why I feel like I can relate with a lot of you guys. And you guys are overextending yourselves. You're always showing up for everybody else and like you always feel like you're not enough. And setting unrealistic goals, that's going to set you more up for failure. Like that's going to make you like you're going to be so hard on yourself when you're setting such quick goals. So if you want to get clear in whatever that is, just let me know, Rebecca. Yeah, I can definitely put it in the group after. Absolutely. And I would also do like a vision board as well too. I actually got like a little thing here that I found. So let me just find it here real quick. All right. So a vision board, like I actually found one for moms. So like it has like very good quotes on it as well too. We're like we either make ourselves miserable or we make mistake or ourselves strong. The amount of work is the same. Like a lot of things about like being active, and then just like a lot of really good like health quotes where it's like when it starts getting uncomfortable, those are the ones that count the most. Jillian Michaels, like that's that one might be like obviously a little cheesy. Obviously the cheesiest ones are the most true, and like get like some pictures of yourself. Maybe like you maybe there was some life stuff that happened that caused you to maybe not have like not create the greatest of habits where you put on a little bit of weight and like you're not happy with your body right now. Maybe there was a point in your life when you were really happy with it and you have like a picture to represent that. So you can look at it and it's actually you. Or maybe you have like an inspiration on like as an influencer on Instagram or on Facebook, or like maybe like a famous like celebrity. You're like, I would love to look like that. Like maybe don't go for somebody that's like absurdly like just like model-esque, like finding something that's realistic, of course, like coming back to the SMART goals, but then putting it onto a vision board so you can visually look at it every single day. Because like we're very vision cue based creatures. Like until you build a routine, until you build the habits, not just for like your goals, but for your workouts, for your nutrition. Like this is why it's important. Like you could also block out time in your schedule to review your goals on a regular basis. So I would start to like think about how you want to do that for yourself, setting up sticky notes, getting a schedule. Like what we have what a lot of our clients do is review their goals every single morning so they can stay focused on it. Because you can get clear on whatever your goal is while you're on this call with me right now, and you'll be like super motivated. But as soon as like you get really busy, you have some other stuff come up, you start overextending yourself, you might just forget about it. So having like a vision board or having like sticky notes up, having it on your like having it as a screensaver on your phone, a screensaver on your computer. I wanted to crush a bodybuilding competition. I'm not expecting any of you guys to crush a bodybuilding competition, just to be clear. But that was a goal for me. Like my initial goal was to not be depressed and love myself and be happy and have really good self-esteem. And like that was a separate goal. But for this goal, I had Arnold Schwarzenegger winning Mr. Olympia, like just like on stage, crushing it. And like the amount of times I wanted to give up, the amount of times I felt really down about myself and didn't feel like I was making enough progress. I just continue to look at that and just show up as much as I could, just doing a little bit better every single day and just showing up on the days that I didn't want to. Like that's the most important thing. When you're stressed out, when you're not feeling great, when things aren't ideal, being able to have something anchoring you to staying on track. So not only getting like realistic, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, timely goals, but also having it front of mind more consistently, like losing focus, getting complacent. Maybe you hit that first milestone and you're not clear on what the next checkpoint is or what that next goal is. So reevaluating whatever that goal is so you can recommit, you can re-motivate yourself and create that motivation to stay on track during these ups and downs. I hope this was helpful for you guys so far. And if you guys have any questions, I'd love to like for you guys to even like share the goal, like whatever your goal is, what your why is, like what you're trying to create for yourself. Like I'd love to see that in the comment section if anybody was willing to share to like inspire some other ladies in here as well. But yeah, let's start diving into it. Let's go into pitfall number 3. So perfectionism. So a lot of you guys have the 100 or nothing mentality where you're showing up 100% for your kids, you're showing up 100% for your work, for your partner, for all this stuff, but you're so already habitually doing all these things where you barely put yourself first. You doing a 10-minute workout is you showing up 100%. You doing a little bit for yourself versus nothing, that is you showing up 100% for the capacity, the bandwidth, and the energy that you have available. So like it's looking at it from that perspective where it's like the fact that you're doing it in the first place, that's a win. That's you showing up. Like the quest for perfection can be your biggest downfall. Like making sure like you're having imperfect action. Like don't expect it to be perfect. It's going to be rocky, especially at first. And embracing flexibility, like mindfulness, self-compassion. Like there's some techniques that I find that are really, you want to be super jacked in a dress and have my daughter see how awesome it is to be strong. Love that. That's awesome. And then coming back to this, having some like inner better like positive self-talk. Like I've been so tough on myself for years. As soon as I started like telling myself I was proud of myself, like checking myself out in the mirror and be like, damn, looking good, man. Like I would like verbalize it. I'd say it out loud. I did a leg day that I didn't want to do. I'm like, I'm so happy I showed up and did that. Like I didn't want to do it, but it was awesome. I feel great. Can't wait for the next one. Like I try and like have that positive talk to myself consistently because it's also like a dopamine thing. Whenever you do something, even if it's just a little bit, but you're positive about it, you're not negative about it, and like you're proud of yourself, you get like a little dopamine hit. And then it's creating a reward system with you showing up for yourself. Whereas if you show up for yourself every time and you're like, oh, that sucked. Like that was horrible. I'm sweaty. I exerted myself. I'm so sore. That sucked. And like you're having that kind of verbiage, you're going to associate whatever that action is or whatever that habit is with something bad, which isn't psychologically is going to be really difficult and creating more of a routine and a habit around this. So when you're able to talk positively about it, you're able to celebrate it, you're able to be grateful for it. That is so freaking important. And like looking at yourself and complimenting the areas that you like as well too. And then affirmations, like talking about whatever you want to create for yourself as if it's already happened. Where you're like, I'm a positive, like I'm a self-confident mom that's leading her family by example and loves herself. Or like maybe it's like you want to be able to fit into a two-piece in Mexico, turning people's heads. Like for me, I tell myself I'm a successful fitness coach who's changing people's lives. And like it's because I doubt myself as a coach sometimes. I feel like imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm not doing enough for my clients because I don't feel like I'm enough sometimes. So telling myself I'm a successful fitness coach who's changing people's lives can help bring me back to reality and just be like, no, like this is like my duty is to serve and show up for everybody else, regardless of what's happening or how I feel. Or I'm not going to worry about the things I can't control because I'll put way too much energy into the things I can't control. Or I'm a pro bodybuilder. I'm not a pro bodybuilder yet. I tell myself I am every single day because I will start to do the things that a pro bodybuilder does because I tell myself that every single day. The days that I don't feel like working out, I don't feel like doing that little bit of extra cardio that I'm supposed to be doing, I still do it because I'm telling myself that I'm a pro bodybuilder. I need to act like it. And if you're telling yourself that you're a confident, self-sufficient mom that's positive and confident and like leading her family by example, and you review that every single day, every decision that you make, you're going to think about it. You're going to double take and you're going to take a step back and be like, does this actually serve me? Does this actually align with my goals? It's not going to kick in right away. It's something that you have to do consistently. It's like doing one workout and expecting to be shredded. It's not going to happen. Like you need to work out consistently to do that. With your goals, you need to go over it consistently, manifest it. Like manifestation, like obviously you can't just think about it and it's going to happen and just poof, it, like you get in good shape. It's a psychological thing where you're going to put more focus into it. So then you're just going to see more opportunities throughout the day where it's like saying no to a Timbit, maybe taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Your friend asks you to go for a walk instead of you being lazy and be like, no, I don't feel like it. You go for the walk anyways. Like it's making those little tiny steps forward that are going to make the biggest difference. Remember, small steps lead to big results. And wait, no, I already talked about complimenting yourself. Practicing gratitude, like being grateful for the things that you have, for how far that you have come, like celebrating wins. Like I constantly have clients that are crushing it. They're so much further than when they first started with us. And then they're like down 10 pounds. They're like they went from never drinking water to like drinking water all the time. They started doing workouts consistently. It was only like 10 or 20-minute workouts, but they were doing it versus not doing them. And they were like, oh, I know, I wish I was doing more. And they're really tough on themselves. So celebrating the wins and like smelling the roses, like you hit those first checkpoints, you're doing those things that you don't want to do. Those are freaking wins, and you should be celebrating them because you should be really proud of yourself. But like we're so freaking tough on ourselves. Like that's why having like sticky notes up and like having visual cues to remind yourself to do the affirmations. I like to habit stack it with things that I'm currently doing. Like if I'm doing a cold shower in the morning, or if I'm just having a regular shower, I'll just do those affirmations naturally. Because I just tell myself, okay, I'm going to do it when I shower, and I just naturally do it now. The more that I consistently did it, but I started with sticky notes and having a Sharpie and writing on my bathroom mirror, so I'd see it every single day when I walked in to go have a shower. So these are different things that you can start to consider when you're implementing these different habits. Victoria, what's going on? Nice to see you. And then put in like non-negotiable time for self-care. Like you're going to respect yourself a little bit more. You're going to love yourself. You can't pour from an empty cup. Like it's one of those things where like if you don't have time to like relax and take rests and breaks and self-care to like re-energize yourself, like that's where we start to be on edge and like we're stressed out and we're anxious and like it shocks your entire nervous system in a really bad way. And it just like that's the energy that you bring to everything. And like if you have a better energy, you have a clearer headspace, you're less stressed out. Like imagine the amount of wins and like how much that's going to create a ripple effect in all the other areas of your life. Like I've had plenty of clients do the same thing where like as soon as they start dedicating more time to rest and breaks, like that like when you have really high cortisol levels, you actually your body like your metabolism slows down. Like it actually makes it so your body like starts to hold on to weight. Like it's not good for your mental health. There's so many positive benefits when it comes to lowering your cortisol levels. Like I've had like I'm trying to think of, like, I'm not going to name names, but we had a client who was just overextending herself. She was just saying yes to everything. And then as soon as she started implementing, like making sure she had her time dedicated for like a quick workout for 10 or 20 minutes, making sure she had like once a week where she started going to the hot springs. She went from being like angry and like upset and like just like in her own head and having her own partner and her kid not wanting to spend time with her to like being way more loving and being way more attentive and like saying yes to things that she didn't say yes to before, where she was able to bond with her partner more, that had a better sex life. Like there's so many different things that it created by her prioritizing herself first. All different things to consider. And if you guys have any questions or anything, or if anything that you want to talk about specifically about these different pitfalls, I'll be more than happy just to like dive into it. And also next week, I'm going to be doing a hot seat where we're going to be actually doing some free coaching. Where like if you basically, I'm going to put out a post that'll have all the details of you. So get clear on what your why is, what this goal is for you that we've been talking about on this call, because I'm going to be asking you about that when we put that post out. And we're going to be doing a free coaching session for a couple of people that want to come on live with me, and we'll dive into your guys' stuff on how to be able to help you customize a strategy so you can start creating more sustainability around your health and start to prioritize yourself a little bit more. So pitfall number 4. Michelle, Sherilyn, what's going on, guys? So pitfall number 4, bonus. So boundaries. We've been talking about this a little bit. So set the you time for you and like communicating that with everybody. Like what I find is like, don't just be like, oh, I need to work out, leave me alone. Like there's different ways that you can communicate it where the person's going to receive it better. Where it's like, hey, I really want to feel confident and feel happy in my body and feel energized and feel good about myself. Like, I would really appreciate it if I had a partner that could help support me with this and help me with this journey. Or like, I really would love to have have you hold me accountable and support me through this. Cause like, if they support you and love you, they're going to help you. They're probably going to hold you accountable. Like I went on a trip to Aruba. I went to not a breakfast place, a dessert place where I knew I shouldn't be having stuff there that was higher calorie. And there was a friend of mine that was a really good friend of mine. I communicated everything for my bodybuilding competition that I was doing. He's like, should you really be having that, when I went to go and order it? And I was like, I took a step back and I ended up not having the dessert because I communicated that with him. Like you miss every shot you don't take. Obviously, there's going to be some people in your life that don't listen to those boundaries, but then that starts to give you a little bit more clarity. Do you want to spend time with those people? Definitely, like that's a whole separate conversation of like proximity is power, and the people you spend your time with. You're the average of the top 5 people you spend the most time with. So I get clear personally on like the friends that I want to spend time with. They need to be active, positive, growth oriented. Because if they're like settling, they're complaining, they're negative, they don't take care of themselves, I kind of distance myself from those people. Something to consider. Different conversation though. So yeah, setting you time that's a non-negotiable, communicating it the right way, putting it into a schedule, having dedicated time on like even just a physical planner, wherever you schedule your time, like making sure you communicate that where it's like, hey, this is my time to work out, this is mom's time to work out, or this is my time to prep and plan my nutrition for the week. Like this is going to set me up for success so I can show up stronger for you guys. And like and include them as well too. Like be like, hey, this is something I want to implement in the family, or I think it's going to help everybody have more energy, feel better about themselves, and start to make a healthier change with the family, and like get them included, get them excited about it. And establishing coming back to the point that I made before, establishing boundaries is good for you and the people around you. When you're clear about your boundaries, people will understand your limits and know what you are and aren't okay with, and they'll adjust their behavior accordingly. Like it might not seem like it at first, but when you communicate it, they're going to be able to think about it and be like, okay, that makes sense when you communicate it the right way. And boundaries will actually reduce stress, help your mental well-being. And by setting boundaries, we can prioritize our own needs, protect our time, our energy, and create a healthy balance in life that promotes our overall health and wellness. Like boundaries is the best form of self-care. You're going to feel less stressed. You're going to feel better. It's going to make a huge difference. So like making sure because if you don't set boundaries, like that's going to make you overextend yourself. You're going to be running on empty. You're going to be more stressed out. It's going to increase your anxiety, and you're never going to be able to prioritize yourself. And it's going to feel like you're just constantly just running yourself ragged. And that's not a great life to live. So I just want to say that I'm super proud of each and every one of you that's deciding to take action, or at least take one thing away from this call. Just joining me on this live. Just coming with me to explore the different challenges, the heart of overcoming them, the connection, the understanding, the perseverance that I see from a lot of you guys. And one thing I really want you guys to do is just get clear on what your action steps are. Like get your top 3 action steps, figure out what it is that's going to be the biggest needle movers. Maybe it's even one thing, or like maybe it's too daunting to think about more than one thing. And then focus on executing that, put all your time and focus into getting that in, finding out like maybe it's workouts. Maybe you just start scheduling some time for your workout in the morning. Like get your workout stuff ready the night before, get your supplements, your pre-workout, your headphones charged up, get all your stuff ready to go so you can just dive right into it the next morning. If you struggle with pressing snooze, put your alarm clock across the room so you can get yourself up so you have to get out of bed to turn the alarm clock off. Like just simple things like that. Maybe it's scheduling some time for this upcoming Sunday so you can prep your nutrition for the week. Like it doesn't have to be huge. It's just putting it into motion. Because again, knowledge isn't power. Applied knowledge is power. Lily, Aaron, what's going on, guys? So pick one strategy that we talked about today, make sure you're implementing it. And I'd love for any of you guys to like put some questions, reach out to me. Like if you're like, I'm not really sure how to do this for me specifically, because everybody's a little different. Everybody's a little bit of a different situation. I'll be more than happy to help you. Also, stay tuned for the live coaching session that we're going to be doing next week on Friday. I'm going to be putting that post out on Sunday so we can start getting some free coaching sessions in for you guys to start really helping move the needle. Thanks for joining, I Thanks for watching. I hope this was really valuable for you guys. I love this. I thought this was super valuable. Lots of really good small steps that will lead to big results. Let's freaking crush it this week. Hope you guys have a very happy Easter, and I'll talk to you guys soon.